This is a story my grandmother, who lived in a Romanian village in Transylvania, told me a long time ago. Everybody knows that the legend of Dracula has its origin in Transylvania, a miraculous land where other fantastic creatures would live, such as fairies called iele, water monsters, or even werewolves. Because I can't remember all the details of the story, I wrote a text that combines the real and the imaginary. I leave it to the audience to decide what might be real and what might be pure imagination. And the story goes like this. Anna and John had been together for a year when they decided to get married. They were the most beautiful and envied couple in the village. She, a young seamstress, blonde, blue-eyed, slender, with a soft voice, and he, a rebellious young man with brown hair and jet black eyes, a mountain of a man, strong, fearless. It seemed as if the most successful specimens of the Homo sapiens race had mated, at least in the idyllic little Transylvanian village where the two protagonists of my story lived. I'm sure their love was the envy of many. What did he see in her? Some of the village girls wondered, and the men, some of them, sighed in sadness. Oh, what a beauty of a woman John has found. Anna and John had a fairy tale wedding, which, though it lasted only a day and a night, brought almost the whole village together around their love story. The villagers celebrated with wine and fine food, and the pipers made the music reverberate throughout most of the gorge of the river that flowed there. Nothing seemed to stand in the way of their happiness. Anna was working from home, and John was a blacksmith who went to work every day. He worked in a trade, making wrought iron gates, tools, and other useful things. But dark clouds were gathering over their marriage. Not half a year into their marriage, rumors began circulating in the village that John had a mistress. Sometimes the villagers would see him walking in the woods alone, but probably with a hidden purpose. It was believed that John was meeting another girl from the village. Nobody knew who the secret mistress could be. The women began to whisper behind her back when Anna passed in the street, and the men even seemed annoyed, not understanding why a woman as beautiful as Anna was not enough for him. It's clear that beauty and perfection become boring with time. They don't say that for nothing. No matter how good she looks, no matter how sweet she talks, someone somewhere is tired of putting up with her shit. And that's probably how it was, or at least that's what they thought about those two. Anna and John had started arguing. Of course, in a small village, rumors travel fast and eventually reach those involved. To make sure this was the case, Anna followed John to his workplace one day and stayed at a neighbor's house who lived nearby so she could see what he was up to from the window. She had also slept very poorly at night, the full moon making her more sensitive and restless. After a couple of hours of John working in the trade, she saw him coming out the door. She followed him from a distance to see where he went. And surprise, John went straight to the woods and plunged into it. It was clear John had a mistress. Anna stormed home, determined to hold him to account once he got home. The afternoon came and John returned home. It was a warm, pleasant, late fall day. The sun still had strength, and the leaves of the trees had colored yellow, red, and orange. A few were still green. The forest's feast of the colors could have gladdened any heart, but Anna's heart was broken. "Where have you been?" she asked in a scolding tone. "I was at work," John replied calmly. "You're lying. You went to the woods to meet your girlfriend," Anna shouted at him. John glared at her with eyes flashing with anger. His hair ruffled on his body, and he replied angrily, "I'm gone. I can't live with you. If you believe all the lies, I have nothing more to discuss with you." But Anna didn't give in. "It's not rumors. I saw it with my own eyes. You went into the woods. What were you doing there?" She held him responsible. "Oh, so now you're stalking me. Fine, I'm gone. I have nothing more to discuss with you," he replied, as if snarling through his teeth. John got up from the table, the chair he'd been sitting on tipped over, and he disappeared out the door. It must have been a wise decision to leave, otherwise they would certainly have had a very bad row, and who knows where they would have ended up. Verbal violence can always turn into physical violence. Anna was left alone. Bitter tears streamed down her angry red cheeks. She could not believe that the man she had once loved so much and still loved had betrayed her trust. She was sad, angry. After crying like that for about an hour, she decided to wipe her tears. John was not the only man in the world. She was young and aware of her beauty. She looked in the mirror. The flowered dress made her look even more beautiful. She decided to mind her own business, to take her mind off her thoughts. There was mown hay in the garden that Anna wanted to collect. As a housewife, she didn't shirk the hard labor of housework. She looked frail, but she was strong in every way. So she picked up her pitchfork and began to gather the mown and dried hay from the garden. Their house was on the edge of the forest. A light wind was blowing, but it was not cold, it was really warm. Summer still had a little power to warm the earth, the air, and her. As she worked like this, she suddenly heard an ominous growl. Looking around, she saw a large wolf preparing to attack her. Anna gasped. The animal was huge, fierce, with large, sharp fangs. Suddenly, it leaped at her. Anna swung her pitchfork at it, wounding it on the back. But the wolf didn't give up. The fight went on for several minutes, during which time the animal tore at her beautiful flowery summer dress, but failed to bite her. She instead wounded him on the back and managed to make him flee into the bushes. Exhausted and frightened, she ran into the house and closed the door behind her. The danger seemed gone, or so she thought. After a couple of hours, during which Anna had changed and calmed down, John appeared home. She breathlessly told him about her encounter with the wolf, how she had wrestled with it and managed to make it disappear back into the woods. They were both much calmer and discussed their problems. They ate dinner together quietly, and Anna thought that maybe her man really wasn't lying to her. He had told her that he had gone to the forest to help the forester identify the animal that had apparently been causing trouble for other villagers. The big wolf that had attacked Anna had become a real problem for the village and had to be caught and killed. And John, being a strong man, had gotten into act. Anna was quiet. At night, when they went to bed, John went first to take a shower. When he undressed, Anna saw his back. He had 3 deep cuts where the blood had already clotted. Anna shuddered. What had happened to her husband? Seeing the deep wounds on his back, the image of the wolf she had chased away with a pitchfork flashed into her mind. But she quickly pushed her thoughts away, trying not to think of such horrifying things. As he crawled into bed beside her, John turned his gaze to his beautiful wife and smiled a toothy smile. Then Anna caught between her husband's teeth a piece of flowered fabric from her own dress, and she immediately realized why her husband went to the woods so often. John was in fact a werewolf.